Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment. And we give you guys a fresh perspective on things. And we're sitting here today. We got a hell of a show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So yesterday, there was a very big game in the NBA that I did not watch. Yesterday, I had one of the most hectic days that I've had in a very long time. And then my wife and I, we get to the hotel with the babysitter, and we're like, okay, you know what? We've had a crazy day. Let's just go downstairs and have some dinner together, right? And we tell the baby, like, just call us and let us know if the baby starts crying, right? We get downstairs. It's a 4-month-year-old. We get downstairs. We just sat down. We started eating. My wife goes, she just called me. I'm like, okay, let's see. She picks up the phone, and she's like, she's crying. Talking about her daughter. I'm like, okay, I think we need to hurry up and go upstairs. Good. 5 minutes later, she calls again. She just drops all her food. We have to go. I'm like, all right, let's go. She drops all the food. I get out of the elevator. I'm trying to pay for the food. She goes upstairs. I get out of the elevator, and I could hear my daughter crying through the door, like the hallway. I was like, Jesus Lord. We walk up in the room, and I go up to see her, and she's looking at me like, if she could talk, if that little girl could talk, she looked like she was going to say, where the hell did you people leave me that you abandoned me? So I was dealing with that, was pissed off. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to stay up to watch the game because the game is coming on at 1:30 a.m. my time. And it was like 11:30. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch some Netflix until the game. And I was like, yo, I cannot do it. I am going to sleep right now. I am tired. So I completely missed the game. I wake up in the morning to see what happened, and then of course I see that the Minnesota Timberwolves ended up staying alive, right? And apparently the box score was the Wolves ended up winning 105-100, and I saw some of the highlights, and Karl Anthony Towns was really the man of the night. And then of course Anthony Edwards, he had a bounce back game. He scored 29 points. He hit with 10 rebounds, 1 assist. He did have 1 block, and I think he shot, what did he shoot from the floor? 10 rebounds, 9 assists on 44% shooting from the field. He made 2 out of his 5 3-point shots. So he had a bounce back game, and really we want to get into, number one, what happened in that game based on the highlights that I saw, and also where I think this series is going. But before we even get into that, this video is brought to you by our sponsor, Game Time, who's the official sponsor of today's show. Game Time Tickets is an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets faster and easier than ever. For example, I am super excited about the games between the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves this week. With Game Time Tickets, I can easily pick the best tickets for me. I love that I can choose between different deals. I have the option to select the cheaper deal, the best option deal, or my favorite, the flash deal. The flash deal gives me the option to find discounts that I can only find on Game Time. Once I select the ticket I want, I can view my seat. And it's not just restricted to the NBA. I can also look for the best ticket deals for other sports like football, baseball, or concerts, or comedy or theater shows. Included in my purchase, I also have a 24-hour return guarantee, a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So let me just give you guys some of my thoughts. First of all, I was actually expecting the Dallas Mavericks to close out this series at home because, number one, they had so much momentum on their side. But it doesn't surprise me that they ended up losing the game. Why? Because the Minnesota Timberwolves have played the Mavs very, very close all throughout this series, right? One dribble here, the other one call this way, the other call that way, they win. Like if you look at game 2, when Kyrie Irving, they had the turnover, but then he fouled him and then the ball went out of his hand. That play goes another way, maybe we have a different outcome, right? The game before that, it went down to the wire virtually. And then, of course, you had this game, which was basically closed out. And, I mean, the game was decided within the last minute and a half or 2 minutes of that game. And that game was essentially decided. So it doesn't surprise me. Now, I saw a post ESPN is something else. Going into this game, they were like, is it over? It's over, and all of this stuff. And then all of a sudden, the Wolves win one game. Is this bad signs? Is this a bad sign for the Dallas? I'm like, really? One game, all of a sudden, we want to talk about bad signs and all of that. So of course, that's how those guys are going to react. I want to get a little bit more into the box score. If you look at the big guns for the Dallas Mavericks, Kyrie Irving had a horrendous shooting night. He shot 33% from the field, scoring 16 points. And Luka Doncic, although he had 28 points, it took him 21 shots to do so, and he only shot 33% in that game. PJ Washington, he didn't shoot well. He only shot 23%. So if you look at the Dallas Mavericks overall as a team, they didn't shoot very well. And whenever you have poor performances like that, shooting from the floor, chances are you're going to lose that game. And essentially that's what we saw there. Karl Anthony Towns, he was big. He was basically the GOAT of this series so far. Not the greatest of all time, like the literal GOAT. Everybody's been roasting him for how poorly he's been playing, and I think he's a difference. He was a difference maker, at least for the Minnesota Timberwolves, having such a big performance when they needed it from their second best player. Obviously, Anthony Edwards had a good game. He stepped up and he delivered for them. And obviously, with every single win, he's going to try to infuse some level of confidence within his group, as he should. Right, as he should. We did get on him after his crazy comments talking about this team can't beat us after they had beaten them 3 straight games. So where do I see this series going? Well, now they're going to be shifting back to Minnesota. What do I think? I think the Dallas Mavericks have a good opportunity to go in there in game 5 and win. Now, some of you may say, but why? Well, I'm not going to bank on the fact that both Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving are going to shoot 33% from the field. I'm just not going to bank on that. Number one. Number two, I also believe that given the fact that they had already won 2 games there, it wouldn't surprise me that they go out there and win. Now, Minnesota is a very interesting team because they can get hot at any moment. They're a very confident team. Their role players play better at home. Naz Reid is going to play well. I expect Anthony Edwards to play a little bit better. I expect Karl Anthony Towns to play better. But ultimately, I think that this series can either go 5 or 6 games. I don't see a scenario in which it goes 7 games. If it goes 7 games, I'll be really, really surprised by that. But I definitely foresee a bounce back performance from Luka Doncic and those guys. And I think some of those role players may play better on the road. But obviously, we have to see how all of those things kind of pan out. But nevertheless, it was a fantastic win. They stayed alive. They didn't get swept. And if they had gotten swept, it would be the first time in NBA history that 2 teams on their way to their respective, becoming conference champions would have swept both series. Because remember, the Boston Celtics did that, and then now they had an opportunity to do that. Some people have asked, just to touch on the Boston Celtics for a second, some people have asked, why don't you talk about the Celtics? A few reasons. Number one, I don't think it's something that our audience is particularly interested in. That's number one. We tried in the past, didn't really gain any traction doing that. Number two, they're not a team that really interests me much. And number three, I don't feel like they've played really great teams on their way to the championship run. That I could be wrong, but I just always traditionally found Western Conference series to be much more entertaining to watch and to cover. So that is the fundamental reason why we don't really cover the Boston Celtics. So what I want to know from you guys, what do you think about that win last night from the Wolves? Where do you see this series going? Do you think it goes 5, 6, 7 games? Whatever you guys think. Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Also, let us know what you think about today's analysis. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts below, and we catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.